That's the secret word!
Yes!
Yeah!
Woo!
Ah! Tears out Stuart Little.
Hey guys, my name's Dan. Today's reaction comes from Dead Meat. This is Hostel Part 2, 2007 kill count. Now, as I said, with the first Hostel, I didn't see it originally just because seeing the previews, it felt like it was just torture porn, essentially. Huge gore fest, killing for the sake of killing, no real meaning behind it, and it came out around the same time as Saw, so you're already competing with that. So going back to see it now, actually it made me enjoy the first one a little bit more because I got to see it from a whole new perspective, not comparing it to anything else, and I actually enjoyed it because I enjoy movies where, you know, killers, they get what's coming to them in the end. The whole overall market didn't get what's coming to them, but the main characters that we knew who were involved, they ended up getting killed. So do I feel the same way about Part 2 as I did Part 1? We're gonna have to wait and see on that, but before we do though, please do check all those things I have for you down in the description below, more specifically Dead Meat's channel if you haven't already. It's a great way to support them, and a great and easy way to support me is by going right below this video, clicking all those buttons down there, because I always let you see future reactions that I do, but also helps my channel to grow. And without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we
I love the whole
victims in all our
thing.
favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Hostel Part 2, released in 2007. Following the box office success of the first Hostel, writer-director Eli Roth quickly began working on a sequel. He brought back pretty much his entire team, including producers, executive producers, the production designer, and of course, K&B Effects to make the gore.
That's dope.
Hostel 2 pulls a pro-tag gender swap and follows a trio of female tourists as they navigate a bigger, badder elite hunting club. On average, these women are a little more likable than the bros, but something feels off about them, whether they're too childlike or just, you know, a bit bland. Hostel Part 2 expands the movie's mythos with a behind-the-scenes look at the club, both its operation and its clientele. That makes the sequel less about the fear Americans have towards foreigners, and it even clarifies some of Slovakia's history.
Wait, wasn't there like some war in Slovakia?
There hasn't been war in Slovakia for 50 years.
Hell, with that line, we could even assume Alexei was just preying on dumb Americans in the first film. Hostel 2's main
Yeah,
themes
that's a good point.
instead are sexism and masculinity, as well as the fear that your neighbor might be a psychotic murderer, the type of person who would pay to get that bloodhound tattoo. Like the first film, Hostel 2 received significant backlash after its release, with critiques leveled at its depiction of violence against women. The film faced censorship in several countries, with a British MP calling it extreme pornography and trying to criminalize its possession. Jeez. It was even outright banned in Germany and New Zealand for a while. Just like with Hostel 1, I totally understand if you don't like this movie. But once again, I find myself a fan. Though it's provocative, I think it has a purpose. How many backpackers will get...
Oh, what?
All aboard!
Oh!
Hey, it's the sponsor train!
Yay,
Presented by
sponsor
today's
train!
sponsor, NordVPN. 1 second, I gotta catch this.
Alright.
You know, I want to travel the globe and see the sights, but that can be expensive. And it's made even
That's why you
worse
use the
with all
green
the ways
screen, right?
websites use your information to adjust their prices. For example, let's say you want to travel to Slovakia, and
Sure.
you've been looking for flights and hotels, not hostels. Because of cookies, travel sites can see that you've looked at this trip before, and you might be more determined to buy this time, which means you might also be willing to pay more. Sites can also use your location to increase prices based on your country's wealth and currency.
Sure can.
Or if they see you want to travel somewhere popular for people in your area. Is everyone around you taking a summer trip to Manila? Well, these sites can see that, and those prices are going up. So how do we avoid these hidden tricks? Well, by taking the Nord train to destination savings. Woo-hoo! With Nord, you can hide your cookies and set your location to regions across the globe. That lets you compare the differences between buying tickets from Los Angeles, to buying tickets from Rome, to buying tickets from New Zealand. So now I can book my travel at the lowest price possible. Bratislava and savings, here I come! Hop on the Nord train for yourself and get a 2-year plan at a huge discount. Plus 4 additional months for free with our link.
Not that I normally hype these ad reads, because, you know, it's necessary, but I actually use NordVPN, and if you're like me, you love watching wrestling, but when it comes to pay-per-views, it can get a little bit expensive in this country, but if you say you use a program only in the UK, because there's a program, not a program, there's a website called Fight TV, right? And you can buy pay-per-views, buy all sorts of stuff there. In America, it's normally like 40, 50, 60 bucks to get a pay-per-view. Over there, you can get it for only 20 bucks using this. So I highly recommend it, and you're welcome, Dead Meat, for that ad read.
NordVPN.com/deadmeat. And with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, it's risk-free. That's NordVPN.com/deadmeat. Or click the link in the description below. How many backpackers will get bumped off on this return trip to Slovakia? Let's find out and get to the kills. The movie begins right where we left off, with Jay Hernandez as Paxton still aboard his escape train. He's in Italy, far away from the events of the first film, which he recaps for a detective in the hospital. His recap ain't got that classic kill count cadence though, so the cop reveals himself as an imposter and makes marinara out of Paxton's belly. This is just a nightmare though.
Yep.
Paxton's hiding in isolation with his girlfriend, played by
I totally bought into it though.
Ladd. He's paranoid about being found by the elite hunting club, since he knows they're everywhere in society, but she's weirdly dismissive.
I took you back because I felt bad.
Thanks?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Right when she finds him the next morning with a cat where his head should be. Eli Roth would get beheaded again with the same actors later that year for his Thanksgiving trailer in Grindhouse. Pac-Man's head is delivered to a fancy man via Paltrow postage. Although, how fancy of a place can this be with old finger-sucking McGee back there? We switch gears and meet our new protagonists, currently in Rome sketching nude dudes for an art class. While the first Hostel starred a trio of testosterone bros, this installment follows 3 female American college students. It even briefly reverses the nudity by hanging Dawn. But don't worry, no homo bros. Roth washes it out right away with some tits. Final girl Beth and her party girl best friend Whitney are planning
Just the way he delivered that, my god!
A trip to Prague. To Whitney's dismay, Beth extends a sympathy invite to her mousy roommate Lorna. I mean, she's gotta stick with her. Both of them are kill count vets. Beth's played by Lauren German, last seen hitching a ride in the 2003 Chainsaw.
Oh yeah!
While Lorna is Heather Matarazzo, Randy's sister Martha in the Scream franchise. I love Lorna,
I recognize her
mostly because I love Matarazzo, but she is weird and almost infantile at times.
Hot springs? That sounds so therapeutic. I want to go.
Still doesn't mean she should be outright hated, Whitney.
I swear to God, I'm gonna choke the bitch to death.
On the train to Prague, Beth and Whitney run afoul of some handsy Euro trash talkers.
You stupid fucking American
That particular word sets Beth off big time.
Are you fucking insane?
I mean,
I fucking hate that word.
yeah!
So does you two. While the first film modeled its tone after sex comedies, Hostel 2 is more unsettling early on, showing the everyday dangers of traveling as a woman. Things aren't going much better for Lorna, who gets robbed by this mustachioed weeping angel. Luckily, her period-accurate white iPod is
Weeping
rescued
angel,
by
I like that
Axel,
reference.
who was the nude model in their class. She hit Beth with some fucky eyes back in Rome, and just so happens to be on the same train as them now.
Whoa, your girlfriend's
Very suspicious!
Stalking American tourists in a Hostel film? I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, I think I see it. Since their trip is off to a Prague rocky start, Axel suggests a familiar detour.
On a little spa vacation.
Just got that reference, Prague Rocky.
Where?
Slovakia.
With her ringing endorsement, the girls change their plans and head to the same hostel from the first film, once again played by a convent in Doksiny, Czech Republic. Ha, glad to see things haven't changed. They check in with the desk clerk, played by the returning Milda Jedi Havlis from Hostel 1. Havlis was initially a production assistant on the first film.
I'm Jedi. Yes. What is a Jedi?
In that movie, it was ambiguous if his character was in on the hunting club or not. This time it's clear, and his role has a little more meat since we get to see under the hood of the operation. The
Sure
girls'
do.
pictures are sent out to a coterie of shadowy capitalists. Of course, should have figured Bezos would be in on this. John
Yeah.
Oliver. Their bidding war is presented with way more style than any scene from the first film. And at the end of it, Putt Nut Todd wins out. He's played by Richard Burgi, last seen on the kill count getting turned into a door knocker in the Friday remake. Todd
Sure
gets
did.
to bring a +1, so he rings up family man Stewart. A couple of excuses to the missus later, and these two white-collar business bros are on their way to Murderville. Todd's gung-ho about their vacation itinerary, but Stewart might be having second thoughts. He doesn't even want to get their cool club tattoo.
My wife is not gonna really understand.
Sorry, Stu. Tattoos are part of the contract. And breaking the contract is a good way to get killed. So just stock up on long sleeves, bud. The girls are given a Slovakian welcome by the returning bubblegum gang, who ask for $1. Lorna tries to give them Smiths. It doesn't work.
I said $1, bitch.
Hopefully they have better luck at the local harvest festival, which the clerk suggested to them as a source of sexy good times.
It sounds kind of gay.
Or does it? While Beth channels Henry the Red, Whitney gossips with Lorna about Beth's net worth. See, her rich mom died when she was 12 and left her with more than a little milk money.
She could pretty much buy Slovakia if she wanted.
Even though Lorna doesn't drink, as revealed earlier, Whitney tricks her into drinking some Miko's Hard Lemonade. This apparently kinda happened in real life too. Heather Matarazzo was sober and said in an interview that Bijou Phillips kept pressuring her to drink. With everything else that's come out about Phillips, can't say I'm too surprised. Whitney
Oh,
nabs
wow.
herself a Yule baller
I have
named
no idea.
Miroslav, and Lorna gets herself a little ponytail action. Beth's content to sit on the sidelines, but a spilled drink brings her face to face with Stuart.
Whoopsie.
He and Todd have been stalking the girls from afar, but Stuart wanted to get up close and personal. He almost gives away the game.
Good night, Beth.
Did I tell you my name?
Stuart!
Oh!
Distracted when she sees Lorna
Whoopsie.
leaning on a romantic river ride. Her boat buddy Roman is played by Roman Janeka, the previous film's second unit director, who was briefly seen throwing bottles at Paxton and Co.
Oh, yeah.
He takes her to a secluded bank because, of course, he works for the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at that bad guy's cigarette. And, you know, the fact that he's a foreigner in a Hostel movie. Lorna's not the only waylaid vacationer. Beth spots some Hostel housekeepers clearing out a room previously rented by Blonde and Blonder. Writer Tim wanted to include these two on the count, but that feels like one step too much of an assumption for me.
Yeah,
Sorry, Tim.
that's fair.
It's
Poor
okay.
Tim. Poor Tim.
The
It's
next
okay,
morning,
Tim.
The group washes off the night's festivities at the hot springs. This was filmed at the Blue Lagoon near Reykjavik, Iceland, a
Ooh.
country Roth fell in love with after living there for a summer.
Yeah, it's
also,
beautiful.
Doesn't hurt that the shoot was a literal day at the spa.
I just want to thank you all for your hard work today.
The ladies
Yeah, it's a lot of
assume
hard
Lorna's
work
been
being
caught in
in
a
a
lover's
spa.
embrace.
I bet she's in a cum coma.
Or, you know, that. A
Yeah,
cum coma
sure.
might be preferable, actually, and a little less kinky than her current situation. There's no safe word that'll work on Lorna's captor, Mrs. Bathory, named after Elizabeth Bathory, the real-life Hungarian countess and serial killer. The
Oh, I
IRL
didn't know
Bathory
that!
is accused of bathing in the blood of her victims, a story also depicted in Veronica, which is the single worst horror movie I've ever seen.
I've never
yes,
seen it.
that includes I'll Always Know and Thanksgiving 3. We did a commentary track for that on Patreon, so, you know, check that out if you fucking hate yourself. Lorna is subjected to some farm tool foreplay before Bathory starts slicing her open, channeling her namesake with a hot blood shower. It's a harrowing fate that feels exceptionally cruel for Lorna, who had just started coming out of her dorky shell. The bloodbath ends with a sickle throat slit that finally snuffs out Lorna's candle. Matarazzo trained for this scene by hanging upside down at home for increasing intervals, until she could do it for 20 minutes straight. She reasoned it would
Good for
help
her.
make the shoot easier on everyone if they didn't have to reset every minute or two.
Aw,
For makeup effects,
trooper.
KB used tattoo paper for her wounds, essentially creating a sticker sheet of slashes. Then a simple bladder was placed below prosthetic skin with a tube pumping blood out of it for
That's
the close-up.
cool.
The effects and Matarazzo's performance combined to make one truly disturbing scene. It's what
Agreed.
got the movie banned in New Zealand for a year. The version they eventually released had the whole scene removed. Back at the hot springs,
Yep, I definitely felt very uncomfortable while watching that scene, but I feel like that was probably what they were going for.
Beth falls asleep to a sapphic shoulder rub. When she wakes up, she finds herself alone and probably with some very pruny toes. Seriously though, what the fuck happened to everyone else who was there? I don't buy that they were all in on it. You telling me this old couple's a pair of human traffickers? I mean, maybe. Anyway, she's a constant of black-clad cronies.
The
She
disappointment.
scales her way up a waterfall and into a nearby forest. She's tripped up by more bubblegum boys who love their candy, which is maybe why they beat her like a downed piñata. The bubblegum gang leader is played by the same kid as last time, Patrick Zigo.
Do people give you bubblegum because they're scared you'll kill them if they don't?
Dávajte žvejkačky, aby si je nezabil.
Yeah.
Not sure how many of the other
That's
kids
funny.
were returnees, but in any case, they seemed like a handful on set.
These kids are fucking nuts.
Beth is rescued by Sasha, the man who signed for Paxton's Fed head delivery. He's played by Milan Kanishko in his first US film role. Kanishko's a hugely popular Slovakian actor who also served in the country's government as Minister of Culture. Probably controversial for him to be in a Hostel movie.
The reality of Slovakia, it's not similar to the reality in the whole Slovakia.
At all. At all.
This is absolutely fiction.
Sasha
Yes.
is accompanied by Axel.
At least I
who
hope
takes
so.
Beth away with her to a nearby car. As punishment for damaging the hunting club's goods, Sasha decides to make an example out of one of these bubble dummies. That's plenty fucked up itself, but to make matters worse, he forces them to choose which one he'll kill. And then he kills them. while The others look on stoically. That
More
is traumatizing
uncomfortableness.
shit right there. You burst your bubblegum, kiddos.
Ah!
Hostel headquarters.
What a
we see
line.
Whitney's been kidnapped off screen. She's taken to the factory's green room where she starts to get prepped for pickup. Whitney goes bitney and takes off a nose, but her escape is hindered by giggling gatekeeping ghouls. Them and their little dogs, too. Axel takes Beth to her supervillain lair of a mansion, complete with bloodhound statues and a giant evil portrait on the wall. Seriously, Beth? Not picking up on any red flags here? I mean, Axel has pictures with Lorna's pickpocket and Natalia and Svetlana, the honey potters from the first film. More goons arrive to capture Beth, so she tries to hide in a closet, only to stumble upon a trophy room with several human heads, including those of Eli Roth and a couple of his producers, like Dan Frisch and his brother Gabriel Roth. Paxton's head is the centerpiece, but before Beth can wonder who the heck that is, she's drugged and dragged away. Game over. With her quarry captured, the business bros are notified that their table is ready. They'd gotten these little restaurant pages earlier to let them know when their order's up. Stewart is still a bit apprehensive.
You think we're sick?
But Todd is ready to rip.
We're the normal ones.
All right, buddy, just do your coke.
Yeah,
They're
he's
taken
ready
to
to
the hunting
rumble.
club's heavily guarded compound and walk in through the same cavernous abandoned building we saw in the first film. Then they shop around for a fun new look. Check it out, dude. I'm a fucking dragon. Oh, yeah. I'm this guy. Yeah. Ultimately,
That's
they
supposed to be
settle on the
Beavis.
classic orange butcher getup. The interiors of the hunting club were built on a soundstage at Barrandov Studio, the largest film studio in the Czech Republic. The industrial walls were made to look like poured concrete by returning production designer Rob Wilson King. King also built the train sets used earlier, with removable walls to make lighting and shooting easier. The ready lights turn red, so Stewart and Todd enter their chambers. Stu's room has got all the fixins, with power tools aplenty and a Beth in a bag. He's not ready to get his murder on, though. Instead, he unties Beth and promises to help save her.
I'm not that guy.
No, of course not.
I'm not that guy.
I think once he realizes the truth of what he's saying, that he's indeed not that guy, he decides he wants to change and be that guy, which is why he knocks Beth out with a punch. Turns out Family Man Stewart has been planning to use Beth to fulfill his wife murdering fantasy. It explains Todd's line from when he first pointed Beth out.
It's fucking crazy, huh? Dead ringer.
It also lends shading to the scene with his family that showed a frosty wife not even speaking to him before she left. In the other room, Todd is doing the power tool tango with a dolled up Whitney. He's showboating at first, but unlike Stewart, he ends up losing his nerve after accidentally sticking a saw in
Whoopsie!
his face, and things get way too real. Just cover that up.
Whoopsie. Yeah, let's
This
just
awful
forget that
moment,
happened.
K&B made a bladeless saw that blew air out to make Phillips's hair blow back. They coupled that with a blood spray and a wire that pulled some of her hair into the prop saw to make it look like it got caught.
I don't know why, but that reminded me so much of that Pulp Fiction scene. You guys know what I'm talking about, where John Travolta is sitting in the car with the guy who they brought back with him, and then he's got the gun to him, and then they hit something, and the gun goes off. I got flashes from
Besides,
that.
this whole thing is too much for him, and despite a guard's warning, tries to leave without finishing the job. As punishment for breaking his contract, he's met with a pack of hungry pooches, and dies with a little more bark than bite. The higher-ups
Nom nom.
try to salvage the situation, offering the wounded Whitney to current guests at a discount. One of them is played by the late Ruggero Deodato, the controversial director behind Cannibal Holocaust, which Roth has claimed as his favorite film. That explains Green Inferno. Roth
Sure.
clearly loves 70s exploitation and giallo films, and I like that he honors the people who made them in his Hostel duology. In addition to Deodato here and Takashi Miike in Hostel 1, this movie's detective in Paxton's Nightmare was played by Luke Miranda, a prominent actor in 70s Italian crime movies known as Policio Tesci. And the
Cool.
art teacher in Rome was played by Edwidge Finech, a French actress who's been in like so many fucking giallos, you guys. Both Miranda and Finech came out of retirement just for these small roles, since Roth was such a huge fan of them.
And I come back only for him.
And this is why we love her.
Deodato's revealed to be carving a captive Miroslav, and since it looks like he ain't wasting a crumb, I'll go ahead and add him to the count. I'll also add this poor bastard, who's seen being electrocuted just off screen. For Miroslav's torture, Bulgarian actor Stanislav Yanevsky stuck his upper body through a hole in a table. His lower body was made of prosthetics and
That's
actual
brilliantly
meat from a
done,
local
and you
butcher
cover it
shop.
up with
They dressed a lot of the body
boxers
with
there?
muscle that had all the gristle and tendon and fatty tissue on it. It was really horrific. It was disgusting. I
Yep.
thought it looked great.
The admin
Yeah, he
was
really did.
ultimately offered to Stewart,
Looked very
just
believable.
in time for him to see his friend's body get carted away. As revenge for Todd, and to be an extra sick bastard, Stewart lets Beth know he's accepting the deal. We see Whitney's death on the compound security feed, though it's blocked last minute by a guard reading some motorcycle literature. Stewart returns for his victory lap, hopped up on homicide fumes.
I'm fucking Hercules!
That line is a reference to how Stewart's actor Roger Bart was the singing voice for Hercules in the Disney film.
Oh!
His singing skills also led to a role in The Producers on Broadway. And in
Nice!
the
That's
2005
cool.
film, and most recently as Doc Brown in the Back to the Future Broadway show.
Oh,
Before he
that's
can go the
wonderful.
distance, Beth holds him off by stroking his ego.
I was hoping you would kiss me. I wanted you to kiss me. I thought about you all night.
Stewart is clearly emasculated and feels the need to dominate another human being to make himself feel like a man. It's a sadly common position that always comes from weakness, which is why Beth's ploy works and she's able to beat the shit out of this whiny whack.
Good job!
She manages to chain Stu into the chair, and when a guard enters the room, she gets the drop on him and steals his gun. By the time reinforcements arrive, Beth is armed and Stewart is stuck in a delicate situation. She's got him by the dong! She demands to speak to Sasha, who's fine with killing them both until Beth makes a counteroffer.
I'm gonna buy my way out of here.
Sasha's willing to make a deal, but there is one problem. No one's allowed to leave this place without killing someone else. It's a good thing Stewart decides to speak up.
You fucking stupid.
That's the secret word!
Yes! Yay! Woo!
Ah! Tears out Stuart Little and fucking feeds it to him.
Oh my god. That was brilliant. That was so good. Props to the whole Deadbeat team there.
Dog!
Let him bleed to death.
Holy shit, man. She leaves Stewart stewing in his own blood, and I'll go ahead and add him to the count. Real fun fact, they put dog food in that gelatin penis so the good boys would be happy to chow down.
No.
Beth is inked up to cement her deal with Lucifer and her membership in the hunting club. Not sure why she can't get it on her arm like everyone else, though. Back in the village, Axel's preying on a new round of girls when her purse is stolen by a bubblegum boy. The murderous model gives chase and gets tripped up by the old woods wire. She's reunited with an axe-wielding Beth, mirroring a puppet show they'd watched together earlier. With a final goodbye,
Nostrovia.
Beth gives Axel the axe and decapitates her. The movie ends with the bubblegum gang playing football with her severed head. Goal!
Sure are. Goal!
Did we sightsee enough sequel kills to warrant a second stay? Oh, actually, looks like it's time to find out at the numbers.
Oh.
Although, I don't know, man. I know I said I would do the numbers, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm really feeling it after all.
Oh.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
What? No!
Oh no! Oh no! What are you doing? Don't, Chelsea! How could you?
19 people died in Hostel Part 2, 4 fewer than in the original outing. The victims consisted of 13 men and 6 women, a more than 2-to-1 ratio of dudes. 4 other films we've counted have also had 19 kills, and Happy Death Day actually had the same exact gender breakdown. With a runtime of 94 minutes, we had a kill on average every 4.48 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to Lorna for sure. This death scene is an all-timer, and probably what most people remember from the film.
100%.
Machete for lamest kill will go to Whitney, since it's a weirdly off-screen fate for such a major character. And that's it. Hostel Part 2 was released in 2007 and completely bombed at the box office. It made less in its whole theatrical run than the first movie did in its opening weekend.
Damn!
The third and final installment would be direct-to-video and bad. I'll look at it next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice.
I don't like hearing that, and the fact
Thanks a
that
lot for
it's
watching.
bad, I don't like that at all, because what could have happened in this movie is they kind of made like a carbon copy of like the first one, and just been completely fine. Everyone would have been cool with it because same premise, same basic stuff happens. But I love the fact that they actually showed also the other side of it, of people bidding and then people getting involved with it. Because the first one, we don't really get to see or get to know any of the potential killers until sort of like near the end of it, where what's his name ends up seeing like that guy in like the changing room or whatever. We actually get to see and get to know more of these characters, so we can kind of see where they're coming from and their mindset of what they really want out of going to this hostel, or the hostel, whatever they're called. You know what I'm saying. But I really like that fact, and also love the repeating fact of getting revenge. And even though it was super weird to have her get like a freaking tramp stamp of this thing, why couldn't she get it on her arm? Was because she was a woman? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I did enjoy this movie, though unfortunately it sounds like I'm not going to enjoy the third one, but we'll stay tuned to that for next week. So that's gonna do it for me here. Comment down below, let me know what you think about Hostel Part 2. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Please check all those links I have for you down in the description below. And lastly, and most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my $5 and up supporters on Patreon: Luchador, Cruising, Wolverine 310, Jordan Bird, Kester Cronage, Amber K, Raymond Bright, Chris Curtis, Haley Mastronarni, Ann Perry, Larka, McKenna Mojanowski, Fox Cacophony, Violetta Sazdick, Emily, Leo Harris, and Dancing For You. And I'll see you guys next time.